Hello, so this is a PowerPoint I made for Clubhouse on boundaries. So discussion questions. What does it mean to have boundaries, and how can you tell if you have good boundaries? To me, what it means to have boundaries is being able to tell someone no, knowing where my limits are and being able to establish them with somebody else. And how can you tell if you have good ones? That one's a little harder to answer. So, what are boundaries? Boundaries are your values, expectations, principles, or limits that you establish to keep yourself feeling safe physically, emotionally, and mentally. Setting healthy boundaries is permitting yourself to be you. It communicates what you stand for, what you're willing to do, and what you will never do. It's not easy to set and communicate boundaries, but they are essential ingredients for our health, relationships, and safety. Boundaries give us a sense of power and control over our physical space, thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Boundaries define your responsibilities and emotional needs. If you allow other people to cross your boundary to keep the peace, you set yourself up for failure. Denying your own needs to make other people happy will lead to a joyless life. So here are some signs that you have poor boundaries. You avoid speaking up about how you feel guilty when you take care of yourself, you struggle with indecisiveness, you feel responsible for keeping others happy, you agree just to keep people happy, you say yes even when you're burnt out, and you hate letting people down. Then we have, which type of boundary do you feel is the hardest to set for you? So you have physical boundaries, protect your personal space and body. Emotional boundaries, protect your thoughts and feelings. Verbal boundaries, protect how we speak and what we discuss. Time boundaries, protect how I spend my time. Work boundaries, protect my limits in the workplace. Spiritual boundaries, protect my values and what I believe in. Financial boundaries, protect my finances and assets. And sexual boundaries, protect my safety and preference. I think emotional boundaries and verbal are a little bit harder. Sometimes work boundaries it can be too, because like say your boss comes up and says, "Can you stay an extra, couple hours?" And then you're like, "Well, you don't really want to. You want to be able to set that limit, but you're afraid, essentially, that you might lose your job." So, boundaries to think about. Me time. Protect your time. Modern life demands can be overwhelming, so you need to be intentional about having time to think, understanding your feeling, and examine your behavior. It allows you to reduce your stress level, recharge your brain, improve your decision making, improve your relationship, and set healthier boundaries. Communication. How often should you communicate during the day? Method of communication. Digital boundaries. Should your partner have access to your phone? What about your emails? What are you willing to share on social media, discuss with your loved ones? Communication apps, tracking apps, calendar apps, Facebook engagement rules, and anything that has to do with your digital boundaries. Physical boundaries. Identify your private space and do not allow people to access it. If you are hiding personal items in a locked drawer, do not allow anyone to question your decision. Mental boundaries. If someone forces you to think in a certain way, look to the exit door. This kind of abuse includes any types of frighten, control, or isolate you. For example, no one should be allowed to tell you that your dreams are worthless. Emotional boundaries. Emotional boundaries are about respecting and honoring your feelings and other people's feelings. Do not ask people to justify the way they feel or assume the way they feel. Instead, respect their feelings without criticizing or dismissing them. How are boundaries demolished? To create great boundaries, you have to say no to people and hold them accountable. It is not easy to tell your family or your boss no, but you have to learn how to say no firmly but respectfully. You also have to be able to see people make mistakes or even fail. Our first instinct is to jump in and help others, but we have to resist the urge to save everyone. People need to fail so they can learn. An inability to say no. If you cannot say no, you will have a hard time defining your boundaries. Your no may cause some discomfort, and you need to be comfortable with that. No to other people often means yes to yourself, and it can be an improvement opportunity for the other party. Your no is your boundary, so use it wisely. If you ask if I ask you to help me with a project and you tell me no, it shows respect for your own time. And I can use it as an opportunity to manage my time better. Inability to watch people fail. If we keep feeling responsible for other people's results, we prevent them from growing. So then this was a discussion question I made. So story time. When was there a time that you failed to set a boundary with someone when you wanted to, and how did it make you feel? So oftentimes when I fail to set a boundary, it makes me feel bad about myself and self-conscious, I guess, that I wasn't strong enough to tell the person no. Hello, so this is how to set boundaries. If you have a hard time establishing boundaries, I will mention 5 steps to help you create stronger boundaries. If you use these steps, you will be happier in your relationship. Creating stronger boundaries is the #1 way for you to improve your life. So, #1 is, what are your rights? Dr. Judith Belmont encourages her clients to set their boundaries by asking themselves one big question. What is my right? You have the right to say no without feeling guilty, to be treated with respect, to be safe, to declare your needs, to be accepted, to refuse other people's expectations of you. These rights should always be your top priority when setting boundaries. And you can add any important ones that need to you. So 2 is listen to your body. If you think someone is violating your personal space, say something. If you feel unsafe about a situation, do something. If you notice that your fists are clenched, get out of that space. If your first instinct is to freeze, flight or fight, find a safe way to retreat from the situation. 3, define your values. Having a set of personal values will make it easier for you to set boundaries. Values are your strongly held beliefs about what is valuable and important to you. Your values will guard you against temptation. Your values determine what is acceptable behavior and what is unacceptable. 4, define what needs to change. Once you gain insight into what boundaries are being crossed and what rights are being violated, ask the other person to respect your boundaries and communicate what needs to be changed immediately. You can say this: I do not appreciate your invading my personal space and asking me to make a decision right now. I need you to step back and give me some time to think about the situation. 5, choose the time to discuss your boundaries. Boundaries need to be discussed early and often in any relationship. When you talk about boundaries, remove all distractions and discuss them with kindness.